And I want you to remember that one of the things that was lacking and one of the things that stimulated us getting ghosted was the lack of credibility about our clients or our candidates. Do you remember that? What do you guys think? Let me just pattern interrupt you for a second. What do you guys think is the number one criteria that a candidate has for going with you versus another headhunter at another company? What's the number one box they check off that causes them to say, it's you, AJ, it's your company over this other company?
Believability, sincerity, truthfulness.
Never came out in the questions that we asked candidates. We did a
Okay.
survey on this. What else? Isn't it amazing? Just time out for a second. I'm not saying this to make you guys
Yeah.
feel bad because nobody does good at this question. But isn't it amazing that we recruit candidates for our clients and we don't actually know the number one criteria that they have for picking us over somebody else? The number one criteria that candidates have, you're going to kick yourself in the butt,
I'm ready.
the quality of the clients that you serve. If you're going to take me on a career train ride, you ain't dropping me off at Kmart. Okay? You're dropping me off at Bonwit Tellers. You're dropping me off at Armani. The most concerned I am is that your company holds clients that are high quality that will boost my career. That makes sense to everybody? So that has to be in your positioning statement. Chris, Peter Lefkowitz, thanks for calling me back. Listen, I'm going to be as brief as I can with you. And if at any time you can't prioritize this call, I know that you're billing on an hourly basis. You just back me off and I'll talk to you during non-billable hours. Okay. I work for kind of an interesting company, and my company remains under the radar so that we have the ability to do what we do best. We are a company that is hired by what many people consider to be some of the strongest managing partners and directors of AM 100 law firms in the city of New York. Okay. These partners have developed teams specifically in the IP world that have caught recognition because of the strength and the technical backgrounds of the attorneys that they have within the world of intellectual property. And they've done this because they refuse to hire anyone that has not been evaluated by their peers or unofficially voted on by others in the firm as being at the top of their game. Does that make sense? These are people
Yes.
whose wins percentages are off the charts. These are people that companies consider to be future leaders from a managerial standpoint, in addition to having the technical skills that they possess. My company happens to be the company that they pay a little bit extra to in order to cherry pick that talent when their own organization or conventional methods are just not attracting that hidden talent. On the candidate side of the equation, we work with people that range all the way from partners to of counsel down to staff, entry level attorneys, but they all share one common denominator. We wouldn't even know about them unless somebody bragged on their skill sets within their company. And typically, people who are operating at the top 20 percentile of their skill set are not the people that are throwing resumes around New York. These are attorneys that have their heads down. They are cranking out strong, strong work. And sometimes people like that just need to be tapped on the shoulder, old school style, which is what I'm doing with you, making a phone call. Most of the people that we talk to don't have a footprint on the internet other than in legal directories. They don't have time to do a lot of opinionating and content writing and so forth. These people are making money for their law firms. So I'm making a phone call to you because I'd like to find out whether or not you've got an interest in keeping your ears open to a situation that somebody thinks might be a stronger fit. Everybody understand how different that is? Who is this call about? It's about Chris. Wasn't about my client. This call was in Chris's agenda, not my agenda. Okay. And I eventually am going to tell him about my client, provided that after I interview him, what his wish list is matches up to what my client is. And if it doesn't, I will literally say to him, you're stuck with a guy named Lefkowitz that has a strong understanding of who you are, where your skills are, and more importantly, what this utopian position would look like if it surfaced. And the only time you're going to hear from me is if I find something like that that you think fits. Is that the kind of relationship, Chris, that you could see having with me? Yeah?
Yes.
Okay. Why don't we set up a time where we can kind of meet? And during that meeting, there are two things that I'd like to cover with you. The first thing I'd like to do is give you a chance to brag on yourself. Somebody else has done it, but it's my job to vet that. Okay? I want to hear where you think you can make your strongest contributions. The second thing that I'd like to do is to give you an opportunity to hand carve, if you will, this next step up in your legal progression. I want you to tell me what the ingredients are that would make you feel whole as an attorney. And while you're doing that, I'm going to be mentally matching it against the, I'll use this word for you, docket of searches that we're working on. And if there's a good fit, I'll quietly make you aware of it. If there's not a good fit, and it's a real world, there may not be a great fit, you're stuck with a company called Walker and Associates and a guy named Chris that understands who you are, what you want, what you're good at. And if that surfaces in the future, I'll make you aware of it. Is that the kind of relationship you'd like to have with us?
Sounds good, Peter.
Let's set up a time. There are 3 times during the day that I can meet with you. If you're an early riser, I'll hate your guts, but I'll meet you. Or we could skip lunch and work during that period of time, or any time after 4. Any of those times better for you?
Let me check my calendar. We can do Thursday after 4 if that's good for a late coffee.
Yeah, that's when I get my methadone treatments. Sorry, just seeing if you guys are awake. Okay, we can do that. Grab a pen. I'm going to give you a little homework for our meeting, if you don't mind. I'd like you to pre-think about 5 things so that our meeting is smooth and efficient for you. Number 1, I'd like you to think about the level of attorneyship, like where you think you belong in your next firm, the title of the job that you would accept. Number 2, I'd like you to think about the functionality of that job. And I'd ask you to describe it in kind of a strange way. I'd like you to break the job up into percentages of time spent on different functions that go from greatest to least. For instance, 40% of my time is going to be spent doing A and 30%. Third thing I'd like you to talk to me about is the industry or discipline or vertical that you want to work in within law. And number 4, I want you to describe the corporate culture that would allow you to feel like you're not stepping on eggshells in your job. And lastly, I
And-
want to talk to you about realistic income. Is that okay? Can you do that?
Yes. Got it.
That's how we work it all the way through. Okay? That is a Morgan style recruiting call. And when we get to the interview part, this isn't a program to discuss the interview, but we've got plenty of videos on the interview and the style of doing that, and having candidates walk out going, I've never been interviewed like that. This guy knows exactly what I'm looking for. And he set up the rules of our engagement. Okay. He told me that in return for the work that he's going to do for me, thou shalt not 1, thou shalt not 2, thou shalt not 3, and thou shalt give me referrals. Right. And we kind of explain that. And so the whole intent of building a candidate is the intent of building not a transaction one, but it's the intent of building a candidate for life. As that candidate goes through multiple movements in their career, we ought to be the people that candidate continues to come back to, be it finding another job 3, 4, 5 years later, or be it they start to become a hiring manager, and will use us for that. Does that make sense?